Hello, in Toshiba we are manufacturing hard disk drives, and today I would like to talk about the frequently asked question, will hard disk drives ever be replaced by SSDs? One of the major driving factors for selecting the storage component is the cost per capacity. And if you look at historic and future cost per capacity figures, we can see that enterprise SSDs have been starting with about $1,000 per terabyte some years ago. They are now in a range of $200 to $300 and will be dropping around $200 per terabyte in 2020. If you look at the price curve for the hard disk drives, they were about $70 per terabyte in 2014, are now approaching the 20 to 30 and will be at about 20 terabyte in 2020. If you compare both curves, we can see that they run in parallel. And what we know from the math class is that parallel curves never meet. So there will always be a price difference of about 10 times. It may drop to 6 or 3 times in the far future, but that's still 3 times the price for the SSD versus the HDD. So concluding from that curve, if we talk about cheap mass storage, we will always have to rely on hard disk drives. The other important factor to be taken into account when we discuss whether SSD can replace HDD is the total required capacity of all data. For example, in 2018, the HDD industry manufactured about 800 exabyte of total capacity, which is 800 million terabyte. In the same year, SSD industry manufactured about 100 exabyte only. 100 million terabyte. So only 10% of all storage capacity went into SSD in the last year. If we would like to double this to 20%, SSD industry have to double the capacity. And actually that's now ongoing. And there is about $100 to $200 billion investment ongoing. If we would like to replace the whole capacity of hard disk drives by SSDs, it will be $1,000 billion at least. And this $1,000 billion will take a while to invest and to bring the capacity up to running. So it will take until 2021, 2022 or so. And then we are replacing only the 800 exabyte of 2018. So in 2020 or 21, we will need about 2000 exabyte, if not even more. So it will be not $1,000 billion, but several $1,000 billion. Ways too much. So that means that in mid, if not even too long term, we will have to rely on hard disk drives to have the cheap and large capacities we need to store our data. So from price point of view and also from total capacity point of view, we can conclude that we will need hard disk drives to save our data for many, many more years.